Gonna be a well, I ain't gonna say how long it's gonna be at this point. You never know, man. You get in here talking that stuff, and before you know it, this is a 4 5 hour thing. I don't really know. Hold on, give me a second here while I pull up to make sure the audio good. All right, we wait. This is an old one. I started doing so many of these shows. I don't even know myself. Hold on, let me climb in here. Let me double check. All right, cool. All right. This is the SR51 Media Show podcast. Um, Basically, I am your host, SR. Yeah, founder of the SR51 Media Empire and the 51 Dynasties community. If you have not already, be sure to check out the Empire's website, www.sr51media.com. Always looking to update it, always looking to keep it fresh, new. Um, I know I haven't put an article or two out in the past couple days or so. Possibly tonight. I like to write articles based off of like how I'm feeling, not like hey, this cat said this. Let me jump to the keyboard, or this cat said this on Twitter. I like to there are a couple things that I would like to get in articles or whatever. It's not going to cancel today's stream or anything like that. There will be a Madden stream in a little bit on TikTok exclusively. I'm just, there's a couple things I wanted because to be honest with you, without getting all personal and crap, basically had a business meeting that ran a little long, and a little long turned into extra long. I'm sitting up in here like, bruh, like you talking like 3 4 hours type thing. So when it got finished, I was like, bro, I'm still playing the game. Like I don't care. It's like it's like seven. I don't care. I'll chop it up on a podcast a little bit. Be able to kind of like decompress, and then we'll climb into the game. I don't care. We'll do that on TikTok and stuff. But yeah, to get some things out there right out the bat, like I said, there will be a Madden 26. I know a lot of people might come in like, where's Madden 27? Where's college football 27? Check your dates. I've said this before. Listen to the previous episodes. I've said that before. Go to X, follow up. A lot of times, don't get me wrong, I will say something. And also to clear it up, of course, if you don't know, yes, the comment section is off. Why? Cause niggas is crazy. know, you get a show like this going, and you just because I only cover basically like Xbox and Xbox related topics and stuff like that. I don't get into like PlayStation, Nintendo, and stuff, and I also don't get into like hot button issues or whatever that's going on in the world or whatever. So sometimes you can get people trying to bring that to your platform or force it on you. So I'm like, all right, in the stream or whatever, and say you chilling in here and everything, and maybe you listen for a while and everything, and you're like, hey, I'm gonna watch the live later and you want to bring questions there, that's one thing. But here I don't, do the comments and everything and stuff like that. Um, yeah, at the same time, jumping right into it. Uh, if you don't know, all sports upcoming streams as far as Madden 27, college football 27 will be hosted on TikTok solely. Okay, so you can expect basically you can expect all sports related streams to be there. As far as other games, we'll get into that. Thank the Lord, more capital has been secured for the brand. So we'll get into what I might do with it, basically. But so far I know I'm already, a thankful owner of the MVP membership and in a position where I can guarantee college football 27 and Madden 27. Um, yeah, so those are the guarantees that are already done. Um, Now to finish the sports addressing, um, I consider racing to be a sport. Okay, when I watch stuff like and if you're new to the show, there's these like I said, covering Xbox topics. gaming, news, technology that is only focused on Xbox, um, accessories, hardware, stuff like that. There won't be any mention of projects that I'm working on or involved with right now. I'm gonna start putting that on pause a bit, because I feel that what's going on is, and that's my bad, that sometimes you can be kind of like so excited for something that you be like, all right, start chopping it up about it, and then somebody's like, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, I can't tell you. So it's like I'm kind of gonna, with the of course with the gaming, or the gaming and everything that's rolling, so I can comment on things that have to do with that. But things that are going to expand from that, to make the empire bigger or whatever. I'm kind of going to take the Bethesda approach. I'm going to take the approach from one of my favorite studios in Bethesda, basically, and say when it's ready, it's ready. And right now it ain't ready. Um, but yeah, like I said, I consider racing to be a sport myself. First of all, last time I checked, it is. You got NASCAR, which is a great sport. I myself am not a super fan of NASCAR. I'm more a fan of like street racing, as far as like Street Outlaws, 0 to 60, NOS, how fast can you get to the end type thing, or how fast can you get to the end and then fix your car and do it again 8 times to win a title type thing. Um, Circuit racing somewhat, but I mean, obviously you have the NASCARs, the Formula Ones, the of course, like I mentioned, the Street Outlaws. So I feel as though racing classifies as a sport, in my opinion. Um okay, I was thought something happened there. So I classify sport as a sport, excuse me. I classify racing as a sport. So what's gonna happen is I have yet to actually try it out, which is the Crew Motorsport. If you're wondering why I'm playing that more so instead of Forza, I gave Forza its flowers for a while. I am a little bit more interested in the Motorfest. Nothing against the Forza. I want to try out Motorfest to kind of compare the two, not against each other, but what I'm looking for as far as like an arcade racer and stuff. So if you're wondering more details on that, also, when it comes to a tweet is one thing, but if I spent like what I did about 4 hours or so, 4 or 5 hours yesterday, um, covering those type of topics, I don't want to be an echo chamber where like you show up the next day and cover the same thing. As it's something different, when you're clarifying points. But when you're like gonna go all the way back to the beginning with that, someone can feel like, hey man, I heard this yesterday, So I like to keep it fresh, new and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're looking for a further explanation on that, check the previous episode before this. It's all in the same playlist. The SR51 Media Show playlist. All shows will be put there where you can listen at your own discretion. I understand that it's about 719. Some cats have kids, wives, husbands, the club to go to, So hey, do your thing. Like I said, there will be a live stream. If you can attend that, I'd appreciate it. If you want to watch that back later, I understand it, but that's why I brung things back to YouTube to give people those options. But yeah, I classify sports as an option, a racing thing. So I'm going to be bringing the Crew Motorsport there. I already have that. That's not something I have to buy, so I'm bringing it up. Um, other sports. I can't really say that um I can't really say that I would probably get down with the WWEs right now. Not to say I don't like the product they're putting out. It's just I feel the controls are like way too complicated. And maybe that's the old school of me coming from an era where you press B to pick up the character, press A to rock bottom them, or stunner them or tombstone them, and now it's like press BAX to pick them up sideways, and then press left, right, XY to hit him with the first finisher. And I'm like, bro, what are we doing right now? And then in a way, not really being able to control the story the way I want to, as far as like, you know, I don't understand why you can't just come out and, I mean, not to say say what you want to say, but at least be able to come out and be like, they hit your music, you come out. maybe the guy says something. They could. I mean, I'm pretty sure with having access to these wrestlers and stuff, you could formulate some sort of story here with specific lines. I mean, I know everybody would get the same question, but give us all like four or five answers. Hey, and 2K, if you listen, feel free to take the idea there. Um, yeah, like maybe something where I mean, who's the heavyweight champ? I can't. Roman Reigns, the heavyweight champion right now, right? So let's say the bloodline comes out, Roman's talking. You could maybe see a character in the back watching or something, and they go, do you want to interrupt him? Do you want to wait till he's done? Do you want to confront him? And then you choose one, and then you go out there, and it's like, do you want to acknowledge him? Do you want to challenge him for the belt? Do you want to punch him in the face? Stuff like that. I feel like we're in like a static option in a sense. And I know that's in somewhat in the game, but not. I mean, when you have games like, just giving credit to at least one that I know of. When you have games like Fable with, basically 1,000 NPCs that at bare minimum, filmed anywhere from 10 to 20 lines, we gotta get a little bit more creative here, man. Not even because of the price. I really could care less with because gaming is acceptable to me. I mitigate prices on other things. A lot of people do what they do. I put it more into what I like doing and stuff. So, and like I said, born, living a blessed life and, still to this day doing that and everything and having a great partner that allows me to do what I'm doing now and also put funds into it. So I'm not really sweating what they charge you in gaming nowadays. Some games we will talk about that's, outlandish, but at the same time, I don't really get into the whole sweat mission of what they charge you as long as I get something in return, you know. But yeah, with WWE, I feel like the controls is a little too complicated. Um, I also feel like at the same time that there's a little bit of a I don't want to say gray area, but I know there's kind of like a mixed signal being sent here, not from them specifically, but from the streaming services I know I'm on, where if I bring out, because I don't know if the NWO music is still in there, and not just the NWO, but if I don't know, pick a wrestler. If their music hits and I have to turn it down and they're walking out silently and then say whatever music I pick hits, but I have to walk out silently, that kind of defeats the purpose of wrestling to me. When I was growing up, not like I'm gonna take it all the way back to the '90s, but even watching wrestling early 2000s, that's kind of what makes wrestling is the music, and the tracks and all that sorts of stuff. So a lot of people go, well, you can play it and everything, and I'm like, I don't really think you can because there's constant content creators after creators like, hey, I got a strike and or they ask me to cut out that part of the video and I'm like, well, what are we doing here? Because if I'm, paying a buck 50 or buck 25 or whatever for, this game, but I can't play 30 to 40 something wrestlers music, then this is like a silent fight, and it doesn't, not to say it doesn't appeal to me. It doesn't appeal to me, number one, because I don't like, it's something different when you turn down the music because nothing against the, nowadays music. I don't have nothing against the new, young boys music or whatever. But as far as like the with that, I'll turn that down because of the fact that I'm more concentrated in the game and stuff of like football or something like that, college football. But in like wrestling, where like the music is down in the menu, and then on top of that, the theme music is down. I'm like, you know, what are we doing? So until further notice, I'll be kind of holding off on something like 2K wrestling and stuff like that. Um, as far as 2K27 goes, I do like what I saw from 2K26. I think putting somebody like to throw it out there, I think just give them their flowers. Um, having I guess it would be considered a biracial parent set in that game, I think was a very good look, especially in the culture world that we're in now. Um, not to say that that's the only reason why I like it, but I think that was a plus. And then at the same time, to hire a real good actor in Quinn Perkins from the Scandal TV series. Like I said, if you don't know about it, you don't know about it. What you don't know about that Olivia Pope, Pope and Associates. But if hiring like a Quinn Perkins and stuff like that to be the mom, I think brought an element of realism to it. And now the whole, even with the whole like playing in what you call it, playing in like high school and going to the what do you call that there, the what's the name of that there? The like proams, I guess is what they're called. Going to like the proams and stuff like that and having to try out and all that. That was pretty cool. The meter has gotten better, in my opinion. What you can't really say better. It's kind of like they removed all the crap they put into it. I mean, when I'm, you know, new to it and not new into it outright, but when I'm new to it in like the past couple of years and I'm able to, make shots and stuff, I'm like, okay, they definitely, reverted this back to what I remember because this is how it used to be. Whereas I don't know what they were thinking beforehand with all the different, shot mechanics of, oh, you want to shoot like Dirk, you want to shoot like hold on one second. Let me turn this fan up. You want to shoot like Dirk. You want to shoot like like Kobe or something. I'm like, bro, just let me press a button. What are we doing? So basically, yeah, it's a good game. Shout out to Xbox for putting it in Xbox Game Pass. If you don't know, NBA 2K6, the full game, not like a demo or nothing, is available in Xbox Game Pass right now. I don't know how long it stays around. I don't have a date on that, but I would advise if you're looking to try out NBA and you want to check it out or something like that, going over there if you subbed up, to Game Pass, going because I'm an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate guy, have been for years. So and got to stay that way, frankly. Be sure to go on over there and check it out to see, especially going into next year when you can see whether or not you actually like the game. Yeah, I think it's a great thing where you can kind of go. It's something different if you go in there and they have like NBA 2K21 or something, and it's like you have to gauge whether or not you want to buy 27 based off of that. But being able to play like, last year's edition and say, okay, I think I might get down this year. Another thing I could say, I, I said a lot that I like. Some of the things that I don't like are mainly in the structure of the schedule, where basically, I think it comes out like September 28th or something. And I'm like, bro, I don't know. I'm pretty sure basketball does not, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure basketball does not start in September. You know, Pretty sure it's like a football thing. I don't know if that's 2K not wanting to. I don't know if it changed recently because I would have to consult my mods or community about whether or not it came out or it comes out every year at the same time. Could be, but I think it needs to be moved a little bit later in the year. But they might not want to be in this, especially this year. They might not want to be in a situation where they release that game like say November when football's running hot and college is running hot and wrestling fans have bought wrestling and countless other story games have come out and GTA is on the way and they might be like, hey, that's too close or whatever because everybody's avoiding the giant, which I will speak on. But yeah, because that John coming down the runway like, prime time Paul White, not even Big Show, like Paul White when that ball was like muscled up, thin as ever type of shit. Hold on a second. Check the audio because I took the AirPods out my ear. Hold on. All right, cool. So yeah, that new Grand Theft Auto coming down the entrance way like Paul White, the WCW days type thing, young, lean, and mean. So like it's like the wild part about it is like, well, I shouldn't even say Paul White's coming down the pike like Big Daddy Cool on some Kevin Nash NWO era. Um, so yeah, I'll get to that. But yeah, with 2K27, I feel like it's too close, you know, especially for somebody that just got, and I'll be what, maybe a month or two into college football, not even a full month or two into Madden to then say, okay, I'm gonna add that. And then I also have like motorsport running at the same time. I don't know. I might double back. I'm thinking more that's a double back and like say November, because what would I really be missing? I know. First of all, it doesn't matter about the story anyway, because most people only play it for the playground or my park, whatever you call it there, where you're going one on one with everybody. So I wouldn't really be, necessarily missing too much there. I'm pretty sure the mic and then the micro is subjective in the sense where what do you call it? The my career is subjective in the sense where you grind up. Now, one thing I will say is that a franchise is very appealing because that's my favorite mode in sports games nowadays, something that wasn't around when I was younger. Um, but the only problem with that is that um sometimes sometimes you don't want to play with just the play like it's different in football, right? And like football, especially going into Madden 27, which I will be addressing some of the great things that's coming to that, but it's different in like a football aspect where like basically uh you can bust a trade, bring over a Max Crosby, bust another trade, bring over a Vita Vea or a JOK or something like that, Marvin Harrison type thing. But in basketball, it's kind of like way different because I know, like, if you, like, say hypothetically, you went after somebody like Wimby, right? The game gonna protect him so much where they gonna want like damn near 5 years worth of first round picks, which would rob you of the ability to pick anybody else. And then I was thinking, well, I could always just, you know, throw a creative player in there, like just a franchise guy, somebody that's probably 99 out. But I could see like where the chat can go with that, the random chat. Oh, you're cheating. Yeah, they wouldn't be nothing without your player or something. So we'll see. But right now, that's a maybe. Um, and then yeah, I think there's only really the sports titles hitting like that. Baseball, uh, to be honest with you, baseball has taken a step forward in my eyes as far as gameplay. Um, Once again, the only problem there is like they like prime example. Shout out to my Phillies. Shout out to the Fighting Phils. They are crushing the Mets right now as we speak. The game could be over, but last time I checked, they was crushing them out 15-3. Um, like I told family when I walked past the TV, last time I saw 15-3 was on a video game somewhere. So, and the wild part about it, it wasn't even 15-3 when I was standing there talking. It was like 14-3, and they belted out another homer, and I'm like, all right, cool. We got more hitters. We looking good. But the only issue with that is sometimes games don't take into account for that. Like your what's the name of that squad there? The Dodgers with that one ball, the pitcher ball, and then the guy that won him the title and everything. I'm pretty sure like no matter how many home runs you belt out, he's still gonna be like, that team's gonna be like OP and stuff. And then because you play so many games, it's kind of like a more lengthier season, in a sense. Whereas like with college football, you bang out, 18, 20 games. All right, time to play the playoffs. Football, 18, 20 games, time to play the playoffs. Basketball and baseball, the way kind of get into the 50 something, 70 something schedule, which can be difficult, especially when, the RPGs, because I'm a sports and RPG guy, especially when the RPGs, start releasing and stuff to say, okay, I'm going to come back every day and not play college football, not play Madden. I'm going to play, the Knicks or the Mets for the fifth time this week. It's kind of different and stuff. So, that's also a maybe. But yeah, those are sports titles that'll be available on TikTok. Best believe there'll be enough, because by the time you get a brand new college football and you know nothing about it, really, and I'll be playing with my Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. If you're also looking at information why I like them, check out the previous show. Um, but yeah, for real with that, just speaking on that for a small minute about the whole what do you call it? Oh crap, hold on one second. Speaking on that, the Warriors, not just the Warriors, but like, college football in and of itself. It could be false, I don't know, but supposedly the what do you call it? The what's the name of that guy? Well, I don't know his name right off the bat, but the Miami University or Hurricanes coach, there was a report that he gave almost $9 million to NIL, and I'm like, players for the 2026-2027 season. Now, here's my thing. I'm not putting nothing on the fan base or nothing like that or the university itself, but I'm pretty sure that's not allowed because like if you're at a point where EA is shutting down, and I'm not even talking just in games, I'm talking like as far as like regular football too. Um, if you're in a situation where the season's about to start and you take, 9 million to give to players, I would question how that happened. Like were you talking to a quarterback? I mean, because let's be real, there could be what you gotta be 18 or something? So it could be a 18-year-old young bull that's the next Miles Garrett, benching 350, running a four, whatever, cutting and diving and stuff. And he's like, hey, I want you to come to my squad. And young bull goes, well, I'm, weighing my options between, say, you and, Alabama or Penn State because he knows he's that good. To be able to say, hey, here's 9 million. And I'm also hearing that, advertisements will match what the NIL puts out. So now we're at 18 million. And then, families also get opportunities too. So now you got his mama in a soup commercial and his daddy in a car commercial. Now the whole family that made 22, $23 million. He ain't even played a year. Something like that is especially what would upset me is like how um somebody like a Hawaii Rainbow Warriors in that situation, not to say necessarily doesn't have that type of bread, but they already teams like that are not like Division One. I'm not saying they're not like good or nothing because I'm a ride with them regardless. Like I roll with my Eagles when we had Sammy Sleeves before the titles. Check back on my channel and stuff. I did not just start riding with the Eagles or playing Madden with the Eagles and now and everything. But yeah, at the same time, um, teams that are not Alabama, Michigan, Notre Dame, stuff like that. When you're in the game, and I'm assuming they base this stuff off of what actually goes on, and you're in the recruiting phase, a lot of times you have to battle against them, not just the player. It's not one of them situations where it's like, hey, you can be like, we have this, we have that. They're like, yeah, but Penn State has NIL money, or they have well not NIL money, they have titles or they have broadcasting rights or they have yada yada yada. And I think that was already an uphill battle for most schools. And now to be in a situation, if this is true, to hear that they're putting, well, not they, this coach put almost 9 million in the hands of either players or a player. I think something like that is a violation of the NCAA rules, and I mean, basically, I would say, an investigation incoming if that's the case. Now, if it ain't true and it's just a, random another post on the internet, hey, cool. But I think stuff like that doesn't necessarily come out of nowhere. We'll see how it pans out and everything. But yeah, with college football 27, I'm not worried about the whole like it's different in college football when it comes to like national titles because I mean, I'm tempted to create a, what do you call it? A college, what do you call that guy? Like a quarterback, right? And say a defensive tackle. Those are my two favorite positions: quarterback, offense; defensive tackle, defense. But then I feel like that also puts it into the range of like kind of like I didn't build the team. I kind of just threw players in there and stuff. Even with Madden, if I make great trades like what you'll see in the TikTok stream, the squad that was built fair and square, and I don't really I use trade picks, I use free agents, the caps off, but at the same time I'll use like trades, I'm gonna use trades. I'll use picks, players, retiring players. Hell, I'll get somebody, and if you change your mind about how you feel about the team, I'll trade you for the season's up. Sometimes I leave the trade deadline off because I think that's dumb that you only have like I mean, yeah, in the off season, I understand everybody's like, well, you can trade in the off season in real life and da da da. Da. But yeah, once the season gets rolling, that's when you really be like, I don't like this guy, or you know what, I think I'm gonna pull the trigger on that trade with that one guy everybody's been whispering about. I think that that needs to be extended past a couple of weeks. I think myself personally, I think the trade deadline shouldn't go off until like right before the playoffs. Frankly, like how would that necessarily change the NFL if a team could trade for like imagine if like okay prime example right as an example right I'm gonna choose a team that might be a shock like might be a shocker this year right say with all the people the Jets got right let's say right before the playoffs, they're able to say, all right, we're going to trade away the next two first round picks we got and bring in CJ Stroud. What type of hype level would that bring to not only the playoffs, but change that organization's trajectory? So something to think about if they were to do it, but that'll probably take a whole like conversation with players and all sorts of stuff because I'm pretty sure it would scare them because then it's kind of like a job security thing where like they know all right come week 7 and 8 if we still in the squad regardless of what happens whether I demand a trade or want my money or whatever they can't do anything about it I want excuse me demand a trade whether I want my money and start getting pissed or whatever or, show my what to everybody basically they can't do anything about it till next year. They stuck with me. So if it was the ability where maybe like a week before the playoffs, the trade deadline went off, a lot of people probably would operate differently in the NFL. So that's how I operate with some things, not just in last year's man, but that's what I'm gonna do going into this next one. Um, as far as the YouTube section goes, I myself don't really look at, and I'm not gonna go into depth about that. Previous streams have already covered that, and many tweets. I don't look at the whole like live service thing as like a way to take me off my job or permanently keep me off my job. Those are things that are being secured differently, in life or whatever. So for me, I love playing video games, love talking about video games, and YouTube offers the ability to not only connect what I say today, but connect gameplay that I put out. I'm not gonna be on YouTube today, gameplay wise. I'm gonna be on TikTok gameplay today, but someday here in the next day or so, I will be live with more gameplay on YouTube, which will be RPG based, and at the same time, it gives me the ability to like tell a complete story. Like take I'm trying to think of a game coming up. Take Fable, right? That will be exclusively here from day one and every time I play it. And a lot of times I don't typically play games like that off screen. Typically with like something like maybe a motor fest, I might want to grab a couple races and not have time to or necessarily want to set up the entire streaming service and all that sorts of stuff. But with like something like Fable, when first of all, I don't even kick games over like that if I only got like 30, 40 minutes where I gotta go out the door, number one. But if it's one of those things where you got 4 or 5 hours and things like that, and I kick over Fable, I'm not just gonna sit there and run and mess the story up because it's kind of like a TV show. How would you feel if um basically like one of my favorite shows is coming back, House of Dragons, right? If they cut it on right now and three characters was dead and they were like, it happened in the off season and there's no off season, excuse me. It happened in the off air moments, I'd be like, what the hell? You know, didn't show me what happened. So that's the power I feel as though of YouTube that not a lot of I shouldn't even say not a lot of I don't think anybody else does this, where it's like, number one, you don't have to pay or convert your basically you don't have to pay yourself to be stored that way. And on top of that, you don't have to convert any money that you receive directly to that. So, it gives a great option for somebody like me that's looking to play, because my favorite two excuse me, my favorite two categories are sports and RPGs. And there's some great RPGs coming out. And I want to be in a situation where I can, because I know I'm gonna create like a playlist category for Fable. So whenever you come in and be like, all right, I want to see, what's going on with Fable, you can go directly there. Um, something else like State of Decay 3. With State of Decay 3, uh, Hmm, I'm gonna play it, but whether or not I actually get it like day one, is up is now currently, up for debate, mainly because I'll get into why some things that hardware wise and game wise I'm looking at. I'm gonna play it because I like the game, but with such a crowded year of what it's looking like, I don't want to, necessarily buy something and then be soured on it. Like, okay, I put out a, 100 something for State of Decay. I'm not playing it that much. Now I'm upset. It's kind of like that. I don't know if a lot of people shop, but like buyer's remorse, like shopping is one of my, could probably be family's greatest sports, and it's kind of like one of those things where you buy like a shirt or whatever you buy. Like think about like if you were like say in the mall, right? I use the mall because every city, state, from what I know, has a mall type thing. Um, Say you in the mall and you buy like a shirt, right? It fits and everything like that, and you liked it in the store, but then you get home and like you put it in the closet and then you come back like a week later and be, I have not worn this yet. It's like, why did I buy that? It's like you like it, you'll wear it, you'll maybe you'll probably wear it once or twice, but you didn't actually, put it into rotation and stuff to justify it. And you're like, damn, I paid $100 for this thing. I could have put that somewhere else. Maybe I could have went and got me a steak or something, or bought this, bought a Pandora or something. I don't know. But yeah, something like that, I don't want to be pissed off at the franchise about. I'm gonna play, but I'll update you later on whether or not it continues to be a day one. Fable has become the destined number one. What I've seen, regardless of what else I'm playing, something like that has to be played. I'm willing to take a break because I mean 200 hours into Starfield, I think I've earned a break. Um, I'm willing to, take a break from something like Starfield to begin that and put hundreds of hours into it because I probably am. Because I'm not going to try to rush it. I'm not going to try to be like, from what I can tell with Fable, they'll probably have like a standalone story type thing, like something where it's like, uh, what you call it? Something where it's like, um, go here, find out this happened, and when you play enough it ends. But I highly doubt a game like that ends when the story ends. It's probably something where, hell, just based on the economy alone and making money and marrying and unmarrying and and causing trouble or not causing trouble, and then hell, we haven't even gotten a DLC. We haven't even had that conversation. So that right there is probably what I never like to put like an exact time on how much I will put into a game, but for real, I could probably guarantee at least like 25, 30 hours easy, easy of Fable. And hell, at least an hour of it gonna be spent in character customization. A lot of times I'm like, I don't know what I want to look like, you know, changing your clothes, buying weapons, buying businesses, stuff like that. So 25, 30 is pretty easy. Um, but yeah, Fable's the guarantee. That's why I moved some purchases around to guarantee that more so. I haven't done it yet. Excuse me, when I do, I will excuse me. When I do, I actually will let you know. That way you can know, hey, I can, get down with it and stuff. But that's the one I have to play. It's more of a have to, especially after that trailer they put out. Um, with the State of Decay thing, like I said, I think that it's a great game, what they made. But if I was to say anything, I did notice that um one of the missions that I saw a guy playing, which seems to be like a very high level zombie infestation area, which is what you have to take care of on the map. Had like what you call it? One of the main zombie investigation. one of the main zombie infestation areas that was on the map that I think was like level 3 or something like that, or whatever, one of the highest levels, had like this schematic where it was like five, I won't say five, I think it was like three hearts, which are the things that you have to destroy to, get the zombies to go somewhere else or whatever, and stop encroaching on your territory. And each heart had like somewhere around like, I want to say, in the video that I watched, and I mentioned it in a previous stream, the guy that did it, I think he had like 73 minutes of gameplay. So, be sure to check it out. Um, but yeah, it had like 3 or 4 nodes that you had to destroy just to open the heart to be able to destroy it. And then he wasn't able to destroy it with like a shotgun shot or anything. It was more like he had to like keep coming back to it and beating it, firing at it and stuff. And I'm like, if you can get like, say, I mean, I don't want to say, 3 or 4 NPCs, but if there is like some NPC backup, um, that changes things in a way. Uh, if you, especially if you can get some NPC backup there to be able to, watch your back or at least help keep some of the zombies off you while you're getting things done is one thing. But the way he was doing it, where it was like, a juggernaut, which has also been taken to another level of like just ridiculousness, and screamers that can call in like 20 zombies. So you really could clear um the whole floor of zombies, and then a screamer calls in a whole another floor of zombies, and if you have to do that by yourself, to be honest, something like that would probably irritate me or whatever, because I like more of being able to take things on by myself. Something different if I had to call an actual um what you call it, it's something different if I had to uh call in actual people, like other players. But just if I don't have even one NPC is cool, because most NPCs in State of Decay are pretty smart. They don't play it like, Natalia from GoldenEye 007 type thing. Uh so yeah, I wouldn't mind that. But once more information is put out, we're not at release yet. I'm pretty sure what they said was the footage was from like a kind of like alpha beta thing, as far as gameplay. So once more information is out, we'll determine how we go about with that. Uh, what else? What else? What else? Game wise, because it's mainly the game wise isn't that deep. It's more hardware conversation today. Um, okay, so as a follow up, if you did not listen to the previous episode, which you should have, um, I made the statement of basically, with Grand Theft Auto, I didn't like what do you call it? I did not like the open world, missions and stuff like that because it was just pure chaos. But I did make the statement of, hey, if there's a option for me to play closed off by myself, but also maybe be able to like bring in my mods, or not only like my mods, but bring in like anybody really that I agree with, not just somebody that walks in like, "Hey, let me join your lobby" type thing. Because you'll have those people that are chaotic players that'll be like, see a stream and be like, "Hey, can I join? I just want to ride around or something," and just start causing chaos. And then by the time you kick them, they done, destroyed 2 cars and a, business or something like that. So, but yeah, there's an option in what I was made aware of. There's an option in Grand Theft Auto 5, because I played it in the beginning, put in some time, went to go play other stuff. There is a option in Grand Theft Auto 5 called invite only, which is where you can, from what I'm hearing from other content creators here, basically click it, and then the whole world depopulates from randos, right? And you have the whole city to do what you want to do. Uh, Something like that's appealing. Like I said, I was not on board, I was probably I think I said I was out, period, unless something like that was available. Because it wasn't available when I was playing Grand Theft Auto in the beginning, but I heard that, they added it towards the end of the life cycle of Grand Theft Auto 5. So and I'm pretty sure they're not gonna put that in, Grand Theft Auto 5 towards the end and take it out again for Grand Theft Auto 6 to, put it back in months later because some people will be expecting to do that, especially where, we're more of a group up kind of game world now, where, somebody, a lot of people might say, hey, me and the homies is buying Grand Theft Auto, but we don't want to deal with randos, so we just go in our own lobby. To me, that is the equivalent of PC having what do you call it? They're having private servers, but at the same time, you don't have to go through like people using like super cheats and stuff like that, which is I don't want to say it doesn't happen on console, but it's more prevalent on PC. And nothing against the PC crowd. I mean, I do play Steam games on a, you know, what do you call it, PC/gaming console handheld, and then the next Xbox will play PC games. So ain't nothing against them. No, but that is a benefit that was at one point mainly only available to PC players. And even though the invite only is not a specifically dedicated PC server, I feel as though it functions as that because when people say, um, I be seeing streamers where, which is super entertaining, where it's their own world instead of just let's ride around and I'm gonna shoot a rocket at this guy, I'm gonna shoot this guy, I'm gonna run this guy over. It's just that's just pure chaos, man. I mean, and I feel you if that's how you get down and everything like that, but that's not I think the general consensus for some people is that's not really fun, you know, especially when you first get a game like Grand Theft Auto 6 and you know nothing about it. It's something different maybe after like, let's say 3 years, because best believe it ain't going nowhere in 3 years. It's something different after say like 2 3 years. You're like, okay, I just want to load in and see what the world looks like chaos wise, and maybe play that for a couple minutes. Then all right, I'm gonna go over to my invite only section and chill, or do what I want to do. That's something different. But to not have that option was why I was coming off in a deal breaker standpoint. Now, here's the thing that which is wild. Here's the part where hardware crosses into something like that. Um, I no longer had not say had like lost or something, but I came away from my Xbox Series X mainly because um I'm a power user is what they consider it. And power users are in the type of situation where you know, by the time I'm putting 40 hours a month into TikTok and 40 hours into YouTube, and stuff like that, and not counting the hour to 2 hour every now and again where you're say messing around with a Madden roster, or the hour or 2 hours where you're say I'm trying to think of like a game where you would cut it on just to mess with it for a little bit. College football, maybe you're going to do a little recruiting, or something like that, and even the Grand Theft Autos, where maybe you just log into uh uh, 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 you collect, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a way to have. If I had to guess, giving it its flowers and stuff, I highly doubt that. Because I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not depend. Here's my thing: whether or not I get Grand Theft Auto, it has nothing to do with Fable. Fable is, and it's not because it's a Microsoft title. I didn't play the original Fable series. This is not one of those like allegiance things. I always, get and play things based upon how I like it and what they show me, and I'm a big sword fighter guy. I would choose a sword game if I could only play with one style of weapon in game forever, sword or gun. I would choose sword. Um, but at the same time, they're two separate worlds, and that's why I think it was smart to separate them from a platform standpoint. I think that was very smart by Xbox to say, hey, well, I mean, it's not just Xbox. I think almost every game that was coming out around that time has been shifted to, a different time, basically. Um, I would say something like Fable coming out next year doesn't impact what I would do with Grand Theft Auto because you basically have all the way up to maybe what comes out February. You probably have all the way up to at least like January. Excuse me. You probably have all the way up to at least January to basically pre-order Fable. It's not like back in the day where, and I don't mean like when I was younger, but just when we were using discs, like disc only, when there was no like digital, maybe 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago, where you had to, or maybe further, where you had to, pre-order that game at a GameStop or something like that, which is also why I think GameStop is losing their foothold in the gaming world because, discs are slowly going away because a lot of people are not. I mean, some people do that where it's like, hey, I think more so with to be honest, I think more so with like a Nintendo that's prevalent. But and don't get me wrong, myself, I still will go in for merchandise and to check and see what games are, necessarily what do you call that there, discounted to maybe catch something different. But to be real, I don't know if it's because, of the fact that, Xbox started running with Steam with the Rogue Ally X, which I do own happily. Um, blessed to do it, but happily. Uh, and also, I'm assuming here when they say that the next Xbox will actually play PC games, they're gonna include Steam. So I think that's forced, not say forced, but I think that's put them into a position where they're like, all right, if it ain't our game or it ain't something that, we made, we're gonna start doing bigger sales. And I don't mean like, November Black Friday. I mean like, and if you don't know what Black Friday means, black in retail, red means dead, black means profit. I've covered that before, not gonna go deep into that. If you don't believe me, look it up. Um, the whole let's say myth behind it comes from people that have never worked behind the counter, comes from people that have bought from the other side. As a person that has worked behind the counter, you get explained, and not just in retail, but if you run a business or operate a business anyway, you come to understand what red debt is and what black profit is type thing. Not in race, but like in charts. So yeah, they don't. To be honest with you, Black Friday nowadays, if I'm guessing from what I'm seeing here, with analysts and stuff like that, not even just in gaming, but Black Friday is not going to be the beginning of the sales this year. I think that with the economy struggling, well, I can't really say so much struggling because I did see something where, I mean, it's pricey, but as far as like struggling, I did see something where they said gaming did about, I want to say 207 either billion or million or something like that. I know I couldn't find a tweet because it's like a 3 or 4 days old and it's probably like 40 tweets behind. But I know it was like I know it couldn't have been like 200 million because 200 million ain't even making back up one game really. So like I think they did about 207 billion or something, and they overtopped mobile. I think not to say for the, I think they said for the first time. And when they say, you know, console gaming, they mean like basically the only three that do it, Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation type thing. So they made about 207 billion. Mobile made somewhere around 143, and I think PC was at a very lower clip of like I think like 93 billion or something. So, and that's no shot at PC or mobile. I just think that, to be honest, I think what's a smart move, and it's looking more and more smart, is the fact that somebody like a Xbox said, "Hey, we're going to give you it's going to be Resi. Let's not dance around that, but we're going to give you a PC mixed with a console that plays PC games because I know with the Ally X, mainly when I got it, I immediately sold my Steam handheld, and then some people prefer to play that way, which I respect. But myself personally, I know that just being a gamer and hanging with fellow content creators and gamers, you get informed that, the requirements now may not be the requirements later. So you might have had, even up to this point, a pretty good PC, but can't run, say, Grand Theft Auto 6 at 4K. Now, to be fair about it, which is not really being talked about as much, and I know that there's this whole, like, going back and forth thing about how, what do they say? The best place to play a game like Grand Theft Auto is this console. Like, I'm not concerned about that. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be very subjective. Like it. I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot of outlets that either lean one way or another, depending on where they've leaned previously. There'll be some neutral cats that'll be like, hey, the trees look better over here or the cars look better over here. Something like that doesn't impact me. What does affect me is where I was going with having a Xbox Series S 1 terabyte, which has been holding its own up to this point. No hardware problems, no issues, nothing like that. But here's the thing. I'm pretty sure I took a screenshot to be able to read this. Let me check real quick. Because I found it out, I want to say, let me see here. I think I found it out last night, and like right before I was about to. Damn, might gotta actually look it up because I wanna make that point as a Let me see if I can look it up. One second. Because I'm not gonna speak on like Sony or nothing like that and what they're gonna be going. Because I don't own a PlayStation, so I can't tell you um what they're gonna do and how it's gonna go down. And I'm also not gonna just, to be honest with you, to throw that out there real quick while I'm looking this up. Yet another guy, you know, uh the wild part about it is cats that and I'll get to that later because I want to actually, go and speak on that a little bit. So yeah, it says the Xbox Series S will run Grand Theft Auto 6 on launch, but you can expect major compromises on resolution, frame rate, and visual fidelity compared to the Xbox Series X or the PlayStation 5. And this probably does cover the I think there's like a PlayStation 5, I'm assuming, that came out when it first released, right? And then there's a PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, I'm pretty sure when this thing says compared to the Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5, I'm pretty sure they mean the Pro, because if they're talking about the base PS5 that came out when it first came out, then that's would be on the same level with that, or at least close to it. It says because the S targets 1080p gaming with less powerful hardware, rendering the massive, highly detailed GTA 6 will require significant scaling. Here's how the game is expected to perform on the budget console. Resolution. To maintain performance, the game will likely run at a lower internal resolution, such as 720 or 900p, and use software upscaling to get to 1080p. Frame rate, you will almost certainly be locked at 30 frames per second, while some players um, speculate that a 60 frames per second performance mode could be patched in later. It will require extreme downgrades to lighting, crowd density, and texture quality. Visual and crowds, you will miss out on, it says visual and crowds, you will miss out on ultra 4K graphics reserved for higher end hardware. Expect reduced draw distance, simpler lighting reflections, slightly less dense cities and traffic areas. Loading times, despite the hardware limitations, the S has a fast NVMe SSD and CPU architecture with with the Series X. This means loading into the game and transitioning between areas will be nearly as fast as on premium consoles. So here's the thing. I know a lot of people might be like, well, why would you, your Xbox guy, why would you put that out? Because I always keep it fair. Somebody that might be in the same room I'm at where they're like, okay, you know, I got the, Madden thing and I'm getting Madden, and let's say they're getting Madden because I did hear something about how people are complaining about the graphics on something like a State of Decay, so I'm gonna set that aside for a minute. But things that typically push the graphic limit of consoles every year, and most games that will be like especially college football 27, um, Madden 27, as well as Fable, Grand Theft Auto. What else is on the way here? Halo, that Combat Evolved, things like that. I feel like I kind of want to be in a position where, um, to be honest, I kind of want to be in a position where because I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, my TV's 4K. Like I know really every TV in this house is 4K at this point. But I know like because I know we didn't go in the store and buy like a 1080p boy or something. And if I did, I will be buying a 4K TV if I make this jump that I'm talking about. Because to be honest, how much is these TVs nowadays anyway? Let me see something. Because that's a good question too. Um, how much is these 4K TVs in nowadays? I ain't checked that out in a while. Uh, I have no idea how much that stuff is. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. That ain't bad. You can get a if you really didn't really like on some for real, if you really didn't, and I'm gonna be using Best Buy because that's where I get my stuff from nowadays. Shout out to Best Buy. Um, if you really didn't want to spend a lot to go to 4K, if you're not at 4K, like say hypothetically later today, I look at my resolution and it says 1080p or something, and I'm like, all right, I gotta get a 4K to match the system if I get it or something. You can get a Toshiba 43-inch class C350 series LED 4K ultra high def smart fryer TV for about a buck 39. So you're looking at under $200, especially with sales tax the way it is. If you wanted to put out a little bit more but not go too high, you can get an LG 60, which damn, you can get a you can get a LG 65-inch class UA7050 series LED AI 4K ultra high def smart web OS TV for 329. So if you add a little bit of extra bread to throw out there, you could basically get a 4K TV for about 100, 300 bucks, which is nowhere near what it was like when them things, first came out. I remember like not even like when they first came out. I remember like a while back when them Jones was less made and the clips they made, them damn things used to be like a rack. And I mean, yeah, when you get into the QLEDs and all sorts of stuff, that's subjective to me, because they'll be like, well, the nits. I mean, for pure, don't get me wrong, there's some people that they maybe don't play games or they do, they watch movies and stuff like that. They'd be like, I want them nits. And I just be listening to the conversations sometimes of the people that, make the TVs, they'll be like, the nit brightness is 5 times better than last year, and the blacks are blacker. They always, they always say stuff like the blacks are blacker and the blues are bluer. Check this out. And then the wild part about it is they'll run these graphically enhanced trailers around the time of Christmas on every TV. That's like $3,000. To be like, what's the ones you see like a frog on a leaf, or chocolate being poured, or water being poured or something. And it's like it's hard to judge that. I'm like, you want to show me what they're hitting for? Put the game on. I ain't even saying you gotta put an Xbox game on. Put a video game on. Anyone. Put a football game on. Put a basketball game on. Put the WNBA on. Put something on. Other than put a movie on. Something. Put the Avengers on. I don't know. But sitting up here showing me a frog on a leaf, or some strawberry rotating slowly, I'm like, bro, I can't. I'm not giving you extra 2 grand for that. Now maybe later on, Lord willing, things change up and there's even more capital brought in. Maybe I'll switch up again. But I'm pretty sure and the wild part about it, I'm not streaming right now, so I could probably, but let me check. I don't know if there's a way, because I seriously lost my remote. I don't know how that even happened. Uh I swear to God, man, I lost that remote. Like on some real, I lost my remote to my TV, and I'm glad I have the crap, I turned it off. Um I'll look it up, but I don't know. And I can't ask my wife because I know she's gonna be like, "You don't know?" I don't know. We bought this jar like a while ago and stuff, and I can't remember if it's the TV because I know I had a when we lived where we lived and stuff. I had a I had a I want to say either 1080p or 4K, but then I don't think it broke. Yeah, I think it did. I think something happened where like it came off the wall, not even on like some cheapskate stuff. It was like, you know how like you hang a TV and then it's too heavy for whatever you hung it on and it falls? And then something that happened there, or something, some TV broke in the house and we had to replace it. Cut a long story short, basically, I'll look into it. It makes no sense to have a 4K game console and not have a 4K TV. That's just my opinion. Doesn't make sense to spend that type of money on a 4K console to play a 4K game on a 1080p TV because basically you're not going to see 4K. Now, if you want to get into the QLEDs and things like that, go right ahead. But myself, I'd be pretty cool with a buck 30 something on the Toshiba, because they all really the same thing nowadays anyway. They all come built with, what is it? I don't even use the stuff that it come built with, the whole like apps and stuff, because I hook up my Xbox. And then I'm also gonna be looking to get a Lord willing, I'm gonna be looking to get a I mean, I don't think I need an Apple TV up here, but I do want to get an Apple TV up here too because it gives you the ability to do things that is harder for because my Xbox is hooked up through my like streaming setup and stuff. And sometimes I don't want to like power on the computer, power on the card, then cut the TV on. It's kind of like sometimes you want to just hit the remote and just, do the daggone thing or whatever and turn it off. Cause like a lot of this stuff you have to like power. I'm the type where like I'll power all that down before I like, call in the night or whatever. I'm not gonna leave like, my computer on and my capture card running and my mic and all that. Stuff can burn. Not saying stuff will burn out, but nowadays, you don't. I couldn't tell you whether it will or won't really, and that's not a shot at any brand really. It's just, and that's not like a console shot or a computer shot or nothing. It's just I don't leave stuff on overnight. Hell, I don't even leave my damn Xbox on overnight. I set it to the whole oh, what do you call it there? I do set it to the whole like if it needs to update itself, do what you got to do in the background if I'm home or not. But as far as like the whole like you're playing the game. Even if I fall asleep playing the game, typically, to be honest, with you being married almost 15 years, wife will wake you up. Hey, turn that off. And if she doesn't, if she's knocked out, typically I'm the type where like, how you like go to get more comfortable or something, and you see like, oh damn, I fell asleep 2 3 hours ago playing this show. Let me turn it off. I'm not gonna be like, let me just leave it on or whatever. Um, Especially the way electric is nowadays. I'm not the type that just runs bills and everything. Um, but yeah, getting back to the hardware and stuff. So I know some, I may get clipped, and I know we live in the clip era and all that, but it's reality. If you're running a base PS4, excuse me. If you're running a base PS5, I cannot tell you your settings that it will appear in. Um, I'm not going to look it up because I'm pretty sure that opens me up to debate that I cannot really, defend myself in because I do not own the console. I do not, own the subscription. I used to, and for a period there to test it out and stuff. When I was still when I wanted to own all three, but then that just became ridiculous. It was like, what am I doing here? And then I could tell because I stay very close to not just people that talk about just the games. I also follow a lot of analysts, like financial analysts, like cats that study money and cats that like predict the market and what we're looking at for the holidays, where increases are going to come from. Like I'm not going to say like I knew this would happen economy wise, but I had a feeling that when the Ally came out at a grand, I was like, bro, there's no way in hell that the next Xbox is gonna be below a grand. Now, if they want to say, I don't think that would be. I can't say that that would be undercutting the Ally X or anything like that coming in under a grand. But I think that if you take to, because I'm pretty sure it's not coming this holiday season as far as new Xbox, but I'm pretty sure if you were to like, take to the streets, with a what's Nintendo at about 520. How much is a PS5? Just as reference. Where's my phone? That's a great reference point. All right. Let me see here. once again on Best Buy. Let's see. PS5 Pro is at about eight. Wait, hold on. Is that something that comes with it, or is it okay? So a PS5 Pro is running at about 899. Okay, so yeah, at about 899, and that's the highest you can get really, as far as graphical output, because it's basically the equivalent. Not to say equivalent, and because I know that'll be a whole debate. Not saying equivalent as far as equal, but as far as like matching power type thing. That's the X in the PlayStation's world. So yeah, basically 900. You I mean, what's a dollar? Not saying like what's a dollar, like it doesn't matter, but like ain't no way in hell you get out of there without where I live in Washington State in the greater Northwest. You paying that dollar, you paying more than that. And there ain't no way in hell if I was a guy or a girl or whoever plays games, I ain't walking into nobody's damn Best Buy and give you no 900 bones on no damn console and not getting at least 2 years worth of warranty. Now we know, in the next year, maybe I mean, do I believe Sony matches Xbox if they come out next year with the next console? Could be. I think that they're very silent about that because they're taking that approach. I think they did that one time with the and not bringing PlayStation into it, just guessing. Where I hear from what I'm analyzing from the information I get from these and I don't mean insiders. Let's clear that up. I mean the same people that if you can look up and follow on whatever platform you're on, the Instagrams, the YouTubes, the TikToks, and all that, Twix X's, and this ain't no some person is feeding me information. It's actual people that do that. There's people that have nothing to do with game streaming or gaming, but spend a lot of time analyzing, where the market is headed and electronics and stuff like that's where I stay more close to that, and which I won't get into now, things like crypto and finances and stuff. Um, but yeah, with a PS5 Pro at about 9 bones, um, and an Ally X at about a rack, you know, I don't think you can go below that because it's one of those things where I believe that, and not to paraphrase or put any words in anybody's mouth here, but I think there was a misinterpretation of what the boss, Asha Sharma. I think I got a name down back too after a while. Asha Sharma, I want to say. I'm pretty sure the statement that was made there about us not spending thousands of dollars on consoles. I think that was more in the sense of like people that say, "Well, I'm gonna buy the Xbox, the PlayStation, and Nintendo." Because when you really add it up, by the time, even if you went just right now and did that, at the highest level, you're talking about what six. I'm gonna look up the Xbox in a minute, but at least what 600 bones Xbox, about 900 bones PlayStation, about 520 Nintendo. You had about 13, 1400. If not more, probably more. Than that. By the time you really add it all together, and that's not including the services that you got to maintain to get the best experience from them and all that sorts of stuff. That's what I think she meant, and she can't say that because then it'll seem like she's taking a jab at something. Everybody will be like, "Oh my god," you know how everything gets like twisted nowadays, and I'll be commenting on some of that I saw today. But because my phone was just blinging off while I was chilling, while I was in the middle of what I was doing, I was like, "What the hell? What's going on over here?" But basically, yeah, I think she means more like, we as gamers are coming away from the time where, I mean, some aren't. Some are like, I don't care. I'm buying everything. And y'all, more power to you. But like, hell, I barely got time to, not say I barely got time, but like, I like being more nowadays dedicated to the one because I feel like I'm getting my bang for my buck. Like I can buy a game, put time into it. If I want to move on, I move on instead of it being like, okay, I have 3 subscriptions that charge me monthly. I have 3 games at least that come out monthly. And if you don't play one or put in a like it's hard to say you're gonna put equal time into all. And the second that you fall off with one, it's back to the shoppers buyer's remorse mission. So That's what I think she more so meant. I don't think she meant like, you know, we're not willing to put out thousands of dollars on our hardware choice, because if that was the case, they would drop the price of the Ally down to say 200-300, and they would also put um you know, price cuts on everything. I think that's I think and like I said, I don't know. I don't talk to her, nothing like that. I'm just, anything. But that's why I think that comment was made more, that on devices and stuff like that. Now it could have been not even just about gaming. Could be the fact that because you gotta understand companies do not to say have insiders, but they have their own analysts that don't actually tell the public, what they know or what they found out. I'm pretty sure they knew this uh memory what do you call it there? This I I might start calling it memory gate, you know? I'm pretty sure they knew this memory gate thing was gonna happen where we started, the new flash term. What was the flash term back there a couple of years ago? SSD. Remember that? Remember when it was solid state drive? Who got the solid state drives? I want the solid state drives, right? Now the new thing. Remember how we had to pay more for the whole like? I'm going to get the solid state drives. I don't want the old base drives, right? Now it's the type of thing where like I'm hearing like the local news in front of like family members and stuff being like, "Yes, your memory and super semiconductor," and they're looking at me and I'm like, I know what it is, but I'm surprised that they're, doing this on the local, news, 5 minutes after the weather, but that's what it is. That's where we are. I don't blame um best believe if this was the type of thing that I felt was one person, which I won't get into politically, and I don't mean that person. I mean, if this was like a position, whether a president or a governor or a mayor or something like that fall in a city or something, or in a nation or something, I would, step up on that. I don't think that's what it is, at all. And it's also not something that's affecting just Americans. It's something that's, affecting the world. I think it's one of those situations where I mean, I can't tell you exactly because I don't know the exact country and I don't want to put anybody out there in that sort of term, but I'm pretty sure there's probably only like one or two countries all the way around that make even chips. You know, I know it's not like made globally. You know, like memory cards and because you gotta understand, memory cards are not just used for just these handhelds. They're also used for people that's photographers that take pictures. Wedding photographers. What else are they used for? Even though you don't see them like that in these phones nowadays, they're there. You know, is where do you think that memory goes when you go to save something? It ain't. Yeah, some of it goes to the cloud, but some of it's being saved on that memory that you just can't pull out and put in another one type thing. It's kind of like why they don't allow you to open them anymore. you know Remember when you could do that? And I don't mean like 93, I mean like all of like 8 years ago. Where you could be like, man, I'm gonna pop the back off this draw, I'm gonna put a damn memory in this draw, I'm gonna do. You ain't doing that no more. They was like, yeah, try it. Pop this thing open. It's gonna pop open like a damn sandwich. You ain't using this no more. But and they go in phones. They also what else? Computers, of course. That's a given with the computer part. Um, Basic stuff you wouldn't really think of, they do. So when I think somewhere along the line, not to put anything on those countries, but I think somewhere along the line, someone informed them like, "Hey, you make the world's memory, right?" And you make the world's semiconductors, and they're like, "But you're right. Hey Johnson, jack the price." What do you mean, Tim? We can't afford that. People will get mad. So what? What they're gonna do? Save their stuff on paper? That's where it is because we've given up and not demanded things. I mean, I would love to see if they want to bring the price down of an Xbox, offer me say one drive storage. I mean, it's the same thing that I do on my iPhone and everybody does with Android. That also with what do you call it there? I know I use the iCloud. I'm not really sure what the equivalent. What would that be? Google backup or something like that. With Android and stuff. I would have no problem. And the wild part, I know people hear me like, "You giving them another 20 a month?" Yes, if you offer me say 2 terabytes right now to store all my game footage on my OneDrive or something through my Xbox, I would damn sure give you $30 a month. Damn right. Especially when last time I checked, the memory card for Ally is like for 512 gigabytes is like $300, bro. Even if you go direct to SanDisk, it's probably like still like $200. What the hell are we doing? You know, and that's not even something that I pin on, Xbox, because even the cards outside of SanDisk who has the deal with, Xbox or whatever, they're in the $300-400 range. Like right now, I'm gonna look it up. My hand got. That's another reason why I started running this way from my phone, so that way during the streams I can look it up. I'm gonna look it up right now. Xbox, because I know it's gonna pop up. X Xbox Rogue Ally X. Here we go. Memory card. All right, so my hand got. I told you the SanDisk. The SanDisk 512 gigabytes, which is not a full terabyte, is $219. The Let's see here. The SanDisk Extreme Plus 256 gigabyte is $100. And if you felt like, hey, I need that terabyte type mission, um, the SanDisk Extreme Plus 1 terabyte is 369. Now don't get me wrong, last time I checked, 369, you talking about a damn S, in some capacity. You talking about an S, 100, 200 south of a switch? Jesus, like, what are we doing? Like, so that's not something that's a Best Buy or a Target or a Walmart or anybody really. That's just how my man, Marlo, not my man, because I was an Avon guy. How Marlo, one of the characters in The Wire, Marlo, Colton Marlo, price of the brick done went up. And that's where we at. Either accept it or not. Hell, I'm even to the point where I'm like, I, we all kind of say the same thing with the Ally X's. Man, I'm gonna manage this, Mary. Hell with that shit. Because it's not, in a way, it's especially when, what's the name of that thing? The I'm trying to remember the name of that thing. Here it is. Prime example. The uh 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 and I'm gonna look at the lower memory too. It's called a I don't know if you know about it. It's, well, you might, especially if you hear or run it back. Um you would know they make these things for Xbox. It's called a Seagate storage expansion card for Xbox Series X and S, NVMe, solid state drive black, right? You can get a 1 terabyte for $1.99. Now that's what, 100 less, or really, it's like 50 less than a 512 gigabyte card, memory card, mind you, for anything really. Um, if you felt spicy, you could go up to 2 terabytes for 259. Now, the reason why I think that goes on is because, number one, if I'm not mistaken, a solid straight drive made by Seagate is memory, but it's not using like a direct memory card type device setup. And also Seagate has been partnered with I don't know if it's a partnership, but I mean it has to be making official Xbox parts. Um I know I had one of those like I know I had one of those like standalone external ones from them a while back. So uh at the same time, they probably like, this is the perfect time for us to drop our prices. Because at Best Buy right now, it's going, what you call it? Right now, I know, I think I saw a sale on that. It says, yeah, for the 2 terabyte, it was originally 350. They dropped 100 on it, and for the 1 terabyte, it was originally 250. They dropped what looks like 50 off of it. So they taking advantage of the fact that, you know, basically memory's tripping. And they look at it like, oh yeah, the memory boys losing their damn mind. They drop our prices. Not even, that's what I'm saying. Things don't that that's where I was listening to analysts and putting it into play, thinking wise, because I'm like, they like, yeah, they're not gonna wait till Black Friday for stuff. I mean, who is? It sets off a chain of events. Like, because Apple, don't get me wrong, like, hell, they kind of screwed themselves over. And I'm an Apple user. I use iPads, I use iPhones, but will I be buying a MacBook? Hell no. Fire. Like, oh yeah, like, by the time you look at the price of some of this stuff, bro, you talking about a down payment on a damn car at the same time. To be real with you, some of this stuff, bruh, bruh, you talking about like You talking about like, and not even just a lot of people feel like, yeah, it's just Apple, everybody else. No, no. Look up your brand's computer that they probably just came out with this past year. And I'm not even talking about like a maxed out. Hold on one second. Give me one quick second here. Have to answer a mod. Um, what you call it? What's the name of it, dear? I'm not even talking about like like specifically one brand. It's just that's that. You know the wild part about it, right? To be honest about that, like because it does tie in, gaming related. Because people do, buy gaming PCs. If that's what you game on, I could respect that. If you're like, hey, I don't do the console thing. I don't do the I worked with people that are like, I've never owned a PlayStation or Xbox in my life, and I'm like, I respect that, but at the same time, that price keeps going up and up and up and up. And if MacBook's sitting in right now at about what, and you gotta understand for somebody like me, it's not like one of those you want to flex on it. Like, no, it's just some of the stuff that I'm doing, like, running. Hold on one second. Uh but yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up by saying, yeah, if you look that up, because then I want to go get something to eat and get the stream going before it get too late. Um, if you look that up, what by the time you're like not even maxing out what do you call it, a computer nowadays, you're looking at like what, 2400 dollars or something like that, and that's nuts, and that's not even like 1 terabyte, 2 3 terabytes. That's like 256 gigabytes with no programs or nothing like that. I'm like, bruh. That's ridiculous. So especially when you looking at the biggest, baddest PlayStation for only 9 and I'm pretty sure, just to throw this in there before I hang it up, because I'm literally about to hang it up type thing. Um, what you call it? What you call that there? Because I wanted to bring that up too. Because I gotta think about it, so I'm not gonna sit here and just babble about it. Um, the Xbox Series X 1 terabyte with Xbox wireless controller, 4K gaming, 124 frames per second is only 649. Bruh, come on now. Come on. I'm not giving you $2,400, bro. And I can have a game console that does what you call it. I refuse to do that. And I've been playing with computers since Windows with golf. So and that's all of them too. If I'm not getting a MacBook, I'm not getting none of them. I'm just it ain't happening. So I, especially nowadays where like iPads have that whole what do you call that, whatever you see on the website, you can hit, you don't even have to hit show me the website version. They just show it to you now. So like it's kind of like starting to make that technology to me kind of irrelevant. So yeah. But with the Xbox thing, if you need to go back to check the what I said about the GTA thing and how that affects everything, be sure to check that out. Um, yeah, man, on some real, I'm gonna talk more about it like in live and stuff like that. But yeah, it's something that might go down. You know, I can't, especially if I'm gonna get GTA, because I mean, how high is GTA really gonna go in price? Like what, 100. They can't get away with murder. You know, the highest they'll go is like what, 200 or something, and they're gonna give you hella stuff and early access for that. So to do that and then not be able to see the game at full capacity doesn't really make sense. So y'all have a blessed rest of y'all day. The ones that's over here on YouTube that don't bang on TikTok stuff like that. But the rest of y'all that do, give me a little bit, gonna get some food, gonna chill, gonna talk to the wife, and then we will be kicking that stream over. If not, I will let you know if anything changes. Have a good rest of your night. Stay blessed, stay safe, stay gaming. Be sure to check on your mental, spiritual, physical health, and I will talk to you in the next one. Peace.